The banking industry, and we have seen results coming out, has generally had a good half of the year. Good. Now, having said that, the banking industry, and we see that every day, is at crossroads. It's a new paradigm with various elements. One of them being, of course, all the new regulations in terms of capital adequacy, in terms of compliance, which really have changed the way international banks look at the world, looks at the business. There is a very strong emphasis by major players, be them European, Americans, Japanese, to ensure that compliance with the various rules are in place. Now, the capital adequacy and liquidity ratios are very important because it changes also the model. To do the same business nowadays, and this is something which came from the crisis, but to do the same type of business or same level of business, you need to allocate much more capital towards the various activities. So, which means that the returns on capital have decreased, and you'll see in that environment the investment banking it's becoming more volatile. The investment banking also uses a lot of capital, be it capital market, be it risk, lending, and so on. And therefore, the profitability of the investment banking has been completely changed, completely revisited. And that has an impact. You will see major international banks restructuring their investment banking, reducing the investment banking, and so on. And this is in this environment that the banking industry has been developing in the first half of the year. So we are now at a stage where all major banks are applying the Basle-III rules, and therefore, are looking in a much more conservative way the way they allocate their capital. And conservative can be in terms of lending, can be in terms of taking market risks, for example, and it is something which at some stage could have an impact on international banking in the region, because we are talking about the region as well, whereby international banks used to lend at quite low margin on very long terms, and that's something which is not really possible anymore. We have seen that some of the players have withdrawn, that the structures, the maturity of transactions have been reduced. And it's something which is a trend which needs to be taken into account for sure. First of all, as a member and a governor, obviously I want this I want it to work. And I must say it is very convenient for various forums, either internal forums within our group, external, where we bring clients, we exchange with clients, and of course, by networking with different members. Probably that's the area which needs to be reinforced. But it is certainly, if you look at the roster of members, people joining, you have the who's who of Bahrain. So maybe ensuring that they meet more often, because the thing in Bahrain is a very social place. So you meet everywhere, everybody. You go for a dinner, you go for a ceremony, you go for an event, you meet the small people. So there's been an initiative, and I see that through emails, of having themes discussions, having presentation, and I think that that's a very good initiative. But certainly the people who are part of it are the who's who, and it's important to create this networking capability. A club, having the ability to have people staying overnight, for example, then you meet them, or they come and meet clients, and so on. And that will probably be, it would be an incentive to.
That's true. That's true.
But to summarize, I think it's a very good institution, and it has the right components. Now, probably even more networking is needed.